All right, thanks, Robert. Much appreciated. You can go ahead. Continue. Guys, stay in your seats. The panel that's about to come up in the next few minutes, it's out of control. Some of the best brokers, real estate agents, influencers, you name it, they're about to come up. We're saving the best for last. So if you're leaving your seats, you're missing out, all right? Anyway, nonetheless, I want to have the opportunity right now to bring up somebody who has impacted our business and the community that you know to be South Florida.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. If anybody found a pair of keys, somebody lost their keys.
If anybody found a pair of keys, just bring it up. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Thanks for interrupting my fucking mojo. Matt Weaver, I'm sorry about that. That's David's fault. You can kick his ass later, okay? So anyways, somebody who's been super influential in the real estate community, you've heard of him, most likely, and if you haven't, you're going to get a taste of what it is to be someone absolutely phenomenal, amazing, one of the best in the game that I know. It's my privilege and honor to bring up my man, Matt Weaver. Come on up, Matt. Guys, you're not going to want to miss this. Pay attention.
If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then have no...
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Come on. There we go, there we go. Let's first give a round of applause to New World Title, David Kurz as well, please. I want to thank you all for the opportunity. I love the lighting in here too, it's wonderful. It was interesting, I received a phone call a couple days ago from a broker owner. And when the call came in, she said, "Is this Matt Weaver?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "Matt, I'm calling you about the New You conference." I said, "Wonderful." She says, "I'd really like to hear Tom Ferry speak. Can I buy a ticket off of you?" And I said, "Well, I'm not selling tickets. I'm going to be one of the presenters. I could certainly point you in the right direction." So she goes on to say, "Okay, what are you going to be presenting?" I said, "Well, what I'm going to be covering is how real estate agents can, of course, motivate sellers and buyers in today's market to take action. Would you like to attend?" She says, "Oh, no, 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 no. You're a loan officer. What do you know about motivating buyers and sellers in today's market? You don't even speak to sellers." And it was right there that dawned on me. I said to myself, she's right. I am a loan officer, and she's right. I don't speak to, of course, sellers. So I asked her a question. I said, "Do we agree that real estate values have gone up exponentially over the past 2.5 years? Come on, yes or no? Yes or no? Do we agree that inventory levels were at their lowest point in the past 2.5 years? Yes or no? Come on, yes or no?" She says, "Oh, yes, inventory levels were at their absolute lowest point. Multiple offers were everywhere." I said to her, "Okay, what do you think the number one reason for that was?" She says, "Well, Florida has so much to offer." I said, "Well, what do they have to offer?" She says, "Florida has excellent schools. It's got wonderful weather and beautiful beaches." I said, "What was that third one?" She said, "Beautiful beaches." I said, "Beautiful beaches. Yeah, Florida does have beautiful beaches. But I have a little bit of a different opinion on the matter. You see, I believe values have gone up exponentially and inventory levels went down so low. It's a one answer with two words, and that is interest rates. Period. Now, if we think about it, in March of 2020, the federal government stepped in, the Federal Reserve stepped in, brought interest rates down to the absolute lowest point, ranging around 2 to 2.5%, to stir up buying activity so people would go out and buy things. They were buying real estate, they were buying cars, they were buying virtually everything else because people buy off monthly payment, yes or no? Come on, yes or no? No question about it. So I believe interest rates was the #1 culprit. So she says to me, you kind of make sense with what you're saying. I kind of like it. I said, let me further validate my case. Do we agree that inventory levels are going up? Yes or no? Come on. Do we agree that price reductions are happening all over the country? Yes or no? She says, oh yeah, I just happened to reduce my listing just last week. I said, has anything changed with our beaches? She says, no, we still have beautiful beaches. I said, so then what has changed? One answer, 2 words. 100%, no question about it. And she says, I really like what you're saying. I said, so are you going to come and join my session? She says, I think I'm going to come and join your session. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me? And I said, absolutely. As a matter of fact, there is. Next week, what do you say you and I go to the beach? Let's give it up for Babs for being here today. Thank you. Round of applause. Watch. That's not Babs. Okay, just a joke. All right, so let's get to it. For those that are thinking of selling a home in today's market, meaning homeowners, who is the #1 competitor a homeowner has in today's market? Well, they already clicked the screen, so it gave it away. The #1 competitor, no question about it, is the Federal Reserve. 100%. So why is this? You see, the Federal Reserve, of course, is increasing interest rates every day to slow down buyer demand. And so as you're increasing interest rates, you're slowing down buyer demand. And I say to agents all the time that if I was listing real estate today, or I was having a price reduction conversation today, what I'm going to be having smack dead in front of my listing presentation is a picture of this man right here. Because that's their #1 competitor. It's not John down the street that's going to list their home. It's none of it. It's the Federal Reserve, and this is in no way to disrespect the Federal Reserve, but we have to bring them into the conversation if you're considering to sell your home today. Because the truth of the matter is that we have to stay steps ahead of the Federal Reserve, and there's ways to do it. So, as they're increasing interest rates, what is happening? The buyer pool is shrinking. The buyer pool is shrinking. Now, earlier in my conversation with Babs, and you all agreed, do we agree that people buy off of monthly payment, yes or no? 100%, no question about it. So now here, watch this. Over the past 60 to 65 days, interest rates moved up just a little over 2%. So now here, if someone got pre-approved 65 days ago that was comfortable with a $700,000 purchase price and a $700,000 mortgage payment, that same buyer today is at $560,000 in terms of the same monthly payment. They're down 20% in terms of buying power. Are you buying a different home at a $560 price point versus a $700,000 price point? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. 100%, no question. So the typical agent is going to say, oh, well, oh, shucks, I guess rates went up, we'll just have to shop for a lesser home. But watch, that's not winning. Winning in today's market, which is what we represent, is keeping the buyer in the game and keeping them in the $700,000 price point. Does that sound good to you all? So just the 4 of you. 100%, no question. So if the buyer pool is shrinking, then what ultimately ends up happening is inventory starts rising. So as inventory starts rising, as we're speaking to our sellers, now our competition and our competitor is number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because remember who our #1 competitor is. It's the Federal Reserve, no question about it. 100%. So as inventory rises, which we've doubled over the past 3 to 6 months, okay, we're falling at around, what, 3.5 to 4 months worth of inventory here in the South Florida markets. Now here, watch this. The National Association of Realtors has always gone on to claim that a buyer's market is marked at 6 months worth of inventory. So we're not there yet. However, because rates have moved up so quickly, those tables have knocked off. They're not the same. So yes, can you have a $350,000 listing with multiple offers? 100%, because we're in a transitional market. But more so than not, properties are going to sit a little longer. So we have to figure out a different marketing approach on how to sell properties. You see, folks, we have to understand the risk of price reductions. So if we're representing sellers, how do we avoid price reductions? Because if you take a look in Florida, the average price reduction is anywhere between 3 to 5%. And if the median sale price is around $550,000, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of about a $30,000 price reduction. And as inventory levels continue to climb, price reductions become more eminent. Do you agree with what I'm saying? No question about it. So, what's the solution? And the solution is very simple, folks. Sellers must participate in lowering the borrowing costs for buyers. Period. Sellers must participate in lowering the borrowing costs for buyers. And so how do they do that? They do that by giving a credit at closing to in turn lower the interest rate, to in turn lower the monthly payment, to in turn keep the $700,000 buyer in the $700,000 price point. Do you like what I'm saying? No question about it. Now here, watch this. How do we do it? We do it by capitalizing off the spread. And what do I mean by capitalizing off the spread? What do I mean by that? So let's take a look at the graph here. If you take a look at the lower left-hand corner, it shows Q4 of 2021. The blue line represents the sale price, and the red line represents appraised value. So we agree that in Q4 of 2021, buyers were paying above appraised value, yes? No question about it, left and right. Now take a look at Q1 of 2021. Okay, we continue to see that buyers are paying above. We slide over to Q2 of 2022. Do you see how that is starting to narrow a little bit? Let's take a look at Q3 of 2022. Buyers are paying appraised value, yes? Come on, just 2 or 3 months ago, yes or no? No question about it. But let's do some forecasting. In Q4 of 2022, what's going to happen? And what is happening? We actually brought back a word for the buyer market, and it is negotiating, yes? Okay, so now here, watch this. So if we can understand that buyers buy in the present day, meaning today, and we understand that appraisers work off of historic data, the two don't meet, just like they didn't meet in Q4 of 2021. So what's going to happen, and listen carefully, is appraisers are able to support a higher value than a buyer is willing to pay. And it's that spread that we want to capitalize on and give back to the buyer to lower their monthly payment to in turn induce the sale. Come on, I should get a round of applause for that, for God's sake. Give them some coffee. So here, now watch. Okay, now listen carefully. Do we agree that a buyer today is different from a buyer 6 months ago? 100%. So a buyer today wants to go ahead and find the $700,000 house, and they may want to offer around $680,000 to $685,000. So in that scenario there, are we better served leaving that be, or are we better served understanding that we can market it at $700,000 with a $15,000 to $20,000 credit, incentivizing the buyer, because people buy off monthly payment. They don't buy off of a slightly discounted price. So how do we do that? We continue to market our inventory with monthly payments. So some of the most common methods of monthly payments are the 3-2-1 buy downs and the various mortgage rate buy downs that we are working very closely with our agents on, wrapping up their inventory, showing a financing package for a buyer on why they should buy this home. So if we think about the importance of that, we can understand that buyers buy off of payment, which is critically important. So some of the angst that agents have, of course, is how do I get the marketing material? How do I get it on demand? How do I get these payment flyers? How do I learn more? So we recently launched what's called MattWeaverMarketing.com. And it's a simple solution for agents to log on, request any marketing material they need, monthly payment material that they need, so they can market their inventory accordingly. So for the past 3 weeks, I have been on the road with how to motivate sellers and buyers in today's market. It's about a 2.5-hour workshop that I've been working with some of the most elite producers in the country, all the way to newer agents that just recently got in the business. And if we can understand what the biggest challenge that agents and loan officers have in today's business and market, it's the following. We actually have to go back to selling real estate again. I want to repeat that. We have to go back to selling real estate again. So let's do a be honest. For the past 2.5 years, it's been Mr. and Mrs. Williams, do you like the home? Oh yes, sign the contract because 15 others want it. Now we have to give the motivation as to why they should be buying the home. So for the agents that have been in the business for 10 plus years, watch, we have to break the habits that we created over the past 2.5 years. And for the newer agents that recently got into the industry in 2020 and 2021, we have to understand how to adapt and create motivation as to why to buy. So my motivate sellers and buyers in today's market is broken up into 2 segments. Design to compete and win in today's market without question. So here's the question. If you'd like to join me at our Fort Lauderdale workshop, which is coming right up, you can scan that barcode. We have, I think, about 35 seats left. I'd love to have you. I'd love to go over the various programs so you can kind of see how we can work towards the same goal, because watch, for the agents that understand our group, understand that there's only one option, and that's winning. Because folks, this isn't doom and gloom, and you'll never hear that from myself. What you're going to hear is how we're going to continue to win and sell real estate at a very high level. 100%. He said, hell yes, okay? So, watch. I have 30 seconds to spare, okay? But I'm going to be done. So thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Oh, please.
Mike. Wait, hold on. I'm going to put you on the spot, if that's okay with you.
Let's go.
So some of these numbers you're going to spit out, most people can't even begin to comprehend. But I'm proud that you're my client, that we share a common interest, and I am extremely happy to know that you're changing the way business is done. And I want some of these other loan officers out here to hear this. Your typical average month as a loan originator, not a branch manager. I don't want you talking about what it is that your branch does. You specifically, units wise. Forget about the volume, because you know how that goes. Units wise. Would you mind sharing what your typical average month looks like?
Well, I appreciate the question, no question about it. And for those that know me know that I really don't share stats and figures and talk.
Well, you're going to today.
But we're going to go ahead and participate because that's what he's asking me to do. It is a great honor to say to all of you that I am the #1 loan originator in the state of Florida and have been for the past 4 years. Okay? Now, watch. If someone asked me what my competitive advantage is, my competitive advantage is singleness of purpose, which means I specialize in working with real estate agents and their clients. I don't bend. When the refinance market was at an all-time high, I never went to the refinance wave. I never wavered from my commitment to the agent. So all I'm thinking about every day is how I can make my agent more productive through a critical part of the process, which is financing. Folks, financing has never been more pronounced as the heartbeat of a transaction than today.
That's great, Matt.
So back to your question.
Come on.
Okay, back to your question.
Everybody repeat after me.
I saw
how many units? How many units?
I saw something, and I saw something somewhere. Someone was sent to me. You average above 100 units under your name as a loan originator per month?
Well, you got to get it right, pal. It's 150, okay? So if we're going to...
You do more business than most branches do in this market.
Winning is the only option. That's it.
If you didn't take the opportunity to hear him out, shame on you. This guy knows what he's doing, obviously, and you deserve the pedestal.
I appreciate it.
God bless.
Watch. Scan the barcode. I'll see you November whatever date. Thank you. Appreciate you.
150 plus units a month on his own. Think about that for a second.